Yeah.
And we did see them kind of flex around, kind of not really having a tank in their first match. And I would argue to a degree, because Detonation FocusMe, their only dedicated tank is going to be Harp, I think Sengoku might be more incentivized to actually itemize more for damage and just kind of go, hey, if we just kill you all really quickly, because let's be real, Yutapon, Yaharong, and Steel aren't going to be tanky at all.
No.
If they just prevent the engage from DFM, they're probably going to win the long-time team fight unless Yutapon gets to pop off on this Aphelios. But Honey's on Jinx, so there's always the Jinx factor, but there's also the Aphelios factor. I don't know, mate.
And the big thing for me is that Yutapon is one of the few Aphelioses that we've seen globally that actually plays it as an aggressive counter into the Jinx. Gale forcing forward when that Gravitum is active to land the Moonlight Vigil, get the root onto multiple people, and secure that first bit of the engage for DFM. They're not going to have to do that, though, because they've got all of these other tools. But if Honey is able to survive, if he is able to continue to pump out the DPS, it could look very, very rough for DFM. We are going to be jumping into game now for the second game of this series. Sengoku with a surprise victory in round 1. DFM looking to bounce back in round 2 and even up the score.
Game on, sir. Game on. Let's have a look at these builds. Let's see if there's anything here. I like the spell book on Yaharong. I think it's really important to be able to rotate around your summoners and really fully utilize the fact that you are playing a Twisted Fate and you are a utility champion here. You are not a carry. Think of Yaharong as almost like a second support that does a bit of damage. Though I'm expecting him to probably go no item build, so it's going to be the Everfrost into the rapid fire cannon, just so you have a point and click gold card.
One of the great things about TF as a champion is just that Pixie Speed. It's so easy to combo it
strong.
through. Yeah, and I do love the Everfrost Rapid Fire Cannon build because it's one of those things that doesn't feel like it should work. TF is one of these AP mages. Surely you should be building up that ability power, building up a load of the magic pen as well to deal as much damage as you can. But teams have realized over the past couple of years that point and click CC is oh so powerful, and augmenting that even further with the itemization to get even more crowd control. Definitely the best way to play the TF.
And this is the second time in a row Blitzcrank-san has actually favored Detonation FocusMe. But let's see if, like game number 1, Sengoku don't care for what Blitzcrank-san says and actually wants to do something. And this is how they can do that once going for a very early invade. We saw this in their series versus Rascal Jester. Once they had got that first win, they felt more confident. They felt like they can actually go for these plays. And the fact that they're doing this versus DFM is fantastic to see. This is adaptation. This is improvement from Sengoku Gaming. And I want to see more.
As once clears out that Grumpy, will be dinging over to level 3 very shortly. Wasn't spotted, crucially roaming towards this bot side jungle of Steels, that ward in the Pixel Brush. Not going to stop out once as he was able to flag and drag himself over the Dragon Wall, but now he is going to be running into the Nocturne, who is very powerful at these early levels. The Fear Tether is going to come through and connect onto once. The Flash may need to be burned here by the Javelin, but instead, he's just going to go for the blue buff and go, hang on, Steel, you're not allowed to be here. DFM caught out in the bot side jungle once again. No kills just yet, but more advantages for Sengoku.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Once is probably going to be able to triple buff here because they have prevented Steel's plan of action. And look at this, because of the amount of just how far ahead now Once is, Steel basically has to go, I guess I just don't have a bot side of my jungle. And he's going to try and path over to the side of Sengoku's top side. But let's see if Once is able to get there in time or if actually it's not going to really amount to much.
And this is excellent adaptation from Sengoku because Steel really wants to get to that level 6 point on the Nocturne, unlock the paranoia, start to be a bit more active on the map. You see now once pathing over recognizes that the DFM jungler is probably going to be taking a look at this blue buff. And once is responding very, very appropriately here.
Gets the Scuttle Crab. Once is coming around. I don't know if they got it. Both junglers have Smite.
Yeah, but only one of them has Flash, and that is once Steel.
Yeah.
Gets the fear off as Jet is actually TP'd into the top lane. They are so invested in shutting down this Nocturne in the early game, and it is paying dividends as it stands. Once with a 2-camp advantage isn't massive for a Jarvan. Not going to be a champion that benefits hugely from the farm, but the Nocturne being shut down is going to benefit Sengoku as we continue into this game. As it stands, though, DFM's lanes are actually doing pretty good. CS advantages for Ebby, Yaharong, and Utapon.
Yeah, actually, that's huge. But something oh my god, I love the LJL, man. I love the LJL. Look at this pathing because of how it took everything down. Something I want to highlight and a point you made, it's not a huge advantage that once actually got all these camps and Steel is kind of behind. It's the experience difference because you want to have Steel hit 6 as fast as possible. The fact that he's done kind of a clear and he's still 3 at 5 minutes is kind of a detriment for Detonation FocusMe. That is not what you need. You want it to be dinging your Nocturne 6 as soon as possible. The disruption coming out from Once. He's still level 4. Once will probably hit 5 around the same time that Steel is going to hit 4, which is kind of catastrophic for them because guess what? Jarvan ult is a huge playmaking tool, and honestly, I don't think Once is going to be farming a huge amount of their jungle after they hit 6 outside of just getting standard experience and everything else that a jungler does.
Nah. Once you get that on the Jarvan, all you do is you throw down the ultimate, you throw down the flag drag, try and find it. Do you know what, Sengoku Gaming? I agree with you.
is that actually real from them?
Of course it's real. Of course it's real. That is a banger.
Oh my god. I mean, after playing basically 40-minute games only versus Rascal Jester, I think there's something to take from that because they went long game versus DFM and then they win. So, damn. Their social media manager's on point with that. That is fire. I like it.
Oh, completely is. Absolutely is.
They need a raise.
They do. Always. All social media managers need a raise. Especially the one that does the stuff for LJLOU.
Oh, yeah. Who is that?
That's Master One, by the way, for anyone that does a lot of the posting. Well, kind of everyone does.
We all do. We all do, yeah. We all
team effort.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. But regarding this series at the moment, not a lot's really happened. After that engage and kind of take away from Steel, it's been mostly quiet for the last minute or two. Obviously, you mentioned that TP was used earlier on from Jet. Paz has now just used his into this top side. It's kind of quiet, and I do think this favors Sengoku because, at the end of the day, you've got a Twisted Fate who doesn't itemize for damage purposes, and the side of Sengoku does itemize for damage purposes, and Jet will actually do damage as opposed to Yaharong, and this is the flip side because Yaharong actually played the utility Ahri last game. I would argue Ahri offers more output damage-wise, whereas DFM, as Twisted Fate just has a point-and-click gold card, as we've already mentioned. But the thing I want to mention now is Once is real close to level 6, my dude. Look at that experience bar in the top bottom right. Whereas Steel, he's at least 3 or 4 camps behind.
Yeah, should be able to hear it at this Scuttle Crab, actually. So, ding. Cataclysm unlocked.
Oh.
What a great name for an ultimate, by the way.
I mean, I'll be honest, a lot of champions in general just have great names for some of their abilities. Ultimate display of perfection or something like that for Kiana's ultimate. I live for.
Supreme display of talent, I believe. It's a bit of a banger.
Oh, beautiful ultimate. I don't know what Tom Kench's ultimate is now, I'll be honest with you. I can't remember the name.
Munch. Hungry. Not sure if that's the official ability name.
I like it.
I'm pretty sure that's what I read on the LoL wiki, and whilst anyone can edit that, no one would lie on the internet, surely.
Oh, no one would lie on the internet. You know who would lie, though, with their level 6 now hitting? It is Steel. He's got the Nocturne ultimate, and while Sengoku fended this off for definitely 2 minutes longer than it should have been, they've not done anything with the extra time they brought themselves. So DFM can still very much make up for lost time, and Rift Herald is here, Dragon is here, and Sengoku haven't taken anything. They haven't even started any of these things, so DFM still have an opening to have an early game advantage. We're not at 14 minutes yet.
Yeah, and those early objectives really weren't prioritized too much by either team in the previous game, and I think maybe that contributed to the game going a little bit longer than DFM would have liked, and obviously Sengoku pulled out those team fights in the later stages. And I'm starting to see a couple parallels actually from game one, because whilst Honey was a massive carry in that one, once again he's behind in CS versus Utapon and Harp.
I mean, it's the Ebby diff, my dude. This is why he solo killed Vizicachi. Yes, I'm bringing that up once again because we always love to do that. But now we have seen multiple members of DFM step up over and over again. Obviously, the Aria over in LCK, technically weird. We won't talk about that too much. But solo killing Faker, like we have had players do pretty huge things on the side of DFM. Steel obviously has the most famous NA clip of all time the Crabber. Like, can we get, like, the LJL has given the world so much, and we're going to give you even more when we come to Worlds and MSI once again. Which one of these teams will get to do? And at the moment, it might be Sengoku Gaming.
It might be. For the first time in their history.
Yes.
Really would be an upset, but they've got a couple more games that they are going to need to win before that becomes a reality. Herald's been on the table for a couple minutes. Both teams now starting to rotate towards it, as actually Honey is sent back down to the bot lane. So, prioritizing a little bit this solo XP, solo farm, solo plate gold for your Jinx. Whereas DFM think that the objective is the best way to go.
They have a 100% first Herald rate versus Sengoku currently in playoffs, so I'm liking this angle. I love the fact that DFM are also going to just use the Twisted Fate ultimate to, see where all the members of Sengoku are. They noticed where NT was, and then immediately were like, okay, that's fine. Yaharong, you rotate round bot, you collect that wave. Let's just have everybody do everything. Paz, buddy, might have a bad time here. Ults are all up for DFM.
Ults up for Paz, though. Flash is available as well. In goes the Abyssal Dive, and there is nowhere for the Gragas to go. First blood for Steel.
I love that Paz at the end of that. Really wanted to make sure that all DFM was safe.
No way.
I mean, that was a tickle.
It was a tickle. It's an execute. It's an execute. Okay, so it looks really stupid when like this big super mega death rocket and it hits someone for about like 100 HP. You're like, great. But Herald summoned in the top lane. More plate gold for Ebby and Steel and Leica's Jet. Might be looking for a bit of a fight here, but with that extended pressure offered in the top side, Sengoku taking full advantage, getting 4 plates onto Honey and NT as well. So, DFM
some of that's just onto Honey. Some of those plates have just gone onto Honey, and that's the worst player for DFM to give. Because who's the man that basically 1v9 DFM back in summer split on Axis? Yes. It was Honey on this Jinx. This is why we amped up this champion for Honey, because it's brokenly good. But Jet also finding this onto Ebby. Just, Sengoku looked like a different beast after that series versus Rascal Jester now. This is not the same one from the Juggernaut match.
Not at all. This is a completely different team. Mythics completed for both AD carries here. Utapon opting towards that Gale Force, giving him a bit of flexibility. But Honey doubling down on the damage versus a full dive composition. This is a player that really backs his own skill in pretty much any matchup. He's going to have to use every last ounce of that League of Legends ability if he's going to stay alive, if he's going to output the damage that he needs to in this game. It has been a slow one. Still only sat at that single kill for Steel at the 13-minute mark, and more time for Jinx is bad for DFM, but I would argue that the time for Camille may be even worse for Sengoku.
It's going to be an interesting one. I am very intrigued to see how this goes. Obviously, remember though, neither team has actually taken first turret yet, though there are turrets pretty low at this moment. I have to imagine Ebby is rather keen to use that Rift Herald that Steel did use top lane earlier on when they killed Paz, to actually kind of make sure that advantage stays with them. As a lot of gold, as we mentioned, has been injected into Honey. They have even put that cull. Like, Honey is so much, they'll just throw everything in the Honey train and then figure out how can we play around them later as this game goes on. One thing we did bring up on the desk, and I want to just bring it back to that, is we are seeing Paz going for that full tank build. So it is going to be Giga Tank Chad Paz going for this, and then the rest of the side of Sengoku kind of playing around the engage that they have. They've got once on this J4. They've got Ari, so Jet, we know lands just everything and anything. We saw that in the last series on the LeBlanc. Landing a charm is like child's play for Jet. So I am very excited to see the first 5v5, as we're already seeing Paz rotate around, and they're gonna fight for this second dragon. I imagine they are. Why else would they all be rotating around? I'm just imagining the timer, mate. That's what I'm going with here.
As not quite on the rift just yet.
Nope.
Just trying to secure Honey and Enti a bit more in this bot side. And Paz, after leaving top lane, has left that one to Ebby. Maybe would have gone down on that wave anyway.
Probably.
Reset coming through for the Gragas, picking up that Frostfire Gauntlet to get a bit more of that defensive power. And you can really see where these teams have prioritized resources in this early game. 4 plates taken in favor of Ebby. 4 of those for Sengoku, going towards Honey and Enti.
So, as we hit a little bit of a lull state now, at the 15-minute mark, this is where we take our snapshot of the game. Detonation FocusMe, 1k gold up in the lead, and they've got a very even distribution. Jesus, words failing me a little bit. On their players, whereas the side of Sengoku, as we've already mentioned, Honey's got a lot of their gold, and he's already starting out by beginning this, and they're going on to him.
Destiny Gate, Paranoia, dead. Honey, nowhere to go, couldn't cleanse, couldn't flash, taken out. Ebby now looking for the play onto Jet as he's trying to Spirit Rush away, and will just escape. Slithers HP, as the final shot is not enough. DFM find a single kill, still flashes over the wall, securing the second with the Dustbringer, and now Paz and Once will be running away with the tails between their legs. DFM not going for anything more, but this early game maybe a bit better for them this time around, as Paz overextended in mid and could just body slam himself out.
And this is going to be a Rift Herald probably for Detonation FocusMe. They might even look to do some more with this, as Udapon is just collecting all of the farm, all of the CS, going to prevent as much from going on to Honey. And this is something we talked about when we first saw this comp be fully locked in for DFM. If they want to, they can kill any target over and over and over again, because they have a Nocturne, they have a Twisted Fate. That's kind of what the champions are. That's why I said Enti is going to just have to live and die by Honey. They're split here, so there was nothing they could do. And all of the members of Sengoku were actually rather split. I mean, thankfully, Jet was able to get away, holding the Ari dash. Actually, didn't even use it. Had to use his flash. Udapon's ultimate just not doing the right amount of damage. Probably wouldn't have mattered, but still able to clean up on that. And what could have Sengoku done really differently outside of grouped better as a team? Because there wasn't really many other options for them in that fight.
And this is what the Destiny Paranoia combo can do. It can cause disarray in your team. It can cause you to split up, and in those sort of fractions of seconds when the Nocturne is flying in, when the TF is porting down as well, you've got to decide very quickly, okay, how are we playing out this fight? Are we engaging onto the TF? Are we trying to pill for the Nocturne? Are we trying to get Honey away? How are we resetting this? It's difficult questions, and Sengoku didn't have an answer. They will be able to take this Herald, though. Maybe want to shut this down in mid, take down that tower, and be able to push the vision line a little bit further. It took them around about 30-35 minutes to take out DFM's mid tower in the previous game. This time around, it looks like it might be a little bit quicker, but Utapon using that ultimate to try and deny the push.
Yeah, this is going to be important for the side of Sengoku to still try and find some mutual objectives, still to fight around some of these fights. The issue they're going to find is it's been just a little bit too long now for them. So DFM actually have all their ultimates back up now, so they can just go straight back to what they were doing. I love this. Destiny Gate thrown really early out. Let's just see where all the members are. Okay, that's where they are. We can take this dragon with no problems. Yaharong, you can push this top lane, and then we'll just back out. We'll just reset. We'll just do it again. And DFM looking to play around dragons, not something they've done a lot this split, but I'm liking the angle they're taking. And hey, if it ain't broke, why change it?
Why change it? And it's not going to be a Cloud Soul this time around. Hex Tech Gates on the Rift, so opting towards that Soul Win condition is even more pertinent. Paranoia pop by Steel there. It's actually a very big cooldown baited out by Sengoku there, means that not going to be able to find too many more proactive plays in the next couple of minutes. Yaharong coming back towards this top side, running forward with the gold card, looking to get a bit of damage down onto Jet, just harassing the Ari, making it a bit longer for him to get back to base.
I want to see some way of Sengoku figuring out how to play around Honey. Because I do feel like they will kind of live and die if Honey is enabled in a team fight or not. But obviously, Detonation FocusMe's whole objective is to just not allow him to play this team fight. It's why we're seeing, obviously, I have to imagine the side of Sengoku going, okay, if that's how they play this whole game, we don't win. Because they will just kill us, and Camille Ebi will become an issue for us. And even if we do kill, like, a Yaharong, who cares? Even if they kill Steel, who cares if you already got to do the Paranoia and kill Honey, because it's like, then they have Utapon coming in afterwards. It's this kind of double carry composition coming out from the side of DFM with just burst damage with Steel, and then you've got the side of Sengoku where they're like, they've got a lot of options and angles, but if they don't get to play the teamfights how they want to play it, it could all be for naught.
Yeah. I think one of the ways that Sengoku really got a lot of their advantages in that previous game that they were able to get the win in is by punishing DFM's overextensions, over-engages, engages that aren't quite as coordinated as you'd like them to be. But this time around, DFM, their composition feels a bit more reliable in terms of finding that engage, and that means that Sengoku have significant difficulties in playing out a lot of these fights. Both teams stancing up in the mid lane. Towers around about half HP for both sides as Jet is roaming down. Paranoia, Destiny Gate are both available, so DFM can respond to or make a play if they need to. Still going to be spotted out on this ward, but chooses not to clear it as he backs away.
All right, so Shirelia's just came in not too long ago for NT. I have to imagine we're going to be seeing a Mercurial's Blessing just for all of the protect Honey sort of idea. But other than that, I really just want to see what they can do. DFM just eating their jungle, and I love this. DFM playing proactively. We saw them play a bit too with a lot of respect over for the side. Oh, that's awkward. We'll just pretend that didn't happen. We saw them playing with a lot of respect in that first game, and it kind of came back to haunt them a little bit. Whereas I would argue now, they're playing with a bit more confidence, it feels like. They're actually challenging Sengoku a bit more, really making them always hand check, and they're noticing they can get away with it a bit more.
It's sort of an irresistible arrogance.
Yeah,
I feel like it is the best way to watch DFM. It's when they are supremely confident in what they're doing and what their composition wants to do, and they're just like, yo, we can out-execute you every single time. Couple Drakes in their back pockets. This Hex Tech spawning in a minute and a half would be the third, putting towards that soul point. And Sengoku are going to be the team that needs to start finding these engages, because whilst they were able to win out in the late game in game one, I don't think you can do that versus a Hex Tech soul.
I mean, no, you can't do that. And if anything, what I want to emphasize is the fact that Hextech Soul is really good for the side of DFM. Look at who they've got. Attack speed, attack speed, attack speed, attack speed, Tom Kench. Okay, so even Tom Kench doesn't hate the attack speed, remember, because the cheese builds in ARAMs and random game modes, like all for one, is sometimes just playing attack speed crit Tom Kench because of your tongue lash. So is that the world we're living in? No, we're not, thankfully, ladies and gentlemen. But I'm trying to emphasize the point that Hextech Soul, probably the best soul outside of maybe Infernal Rift for DFM.
Infernal. It's a difficult one as Sengoku, it's clear that they understand that they need to get this Drake. That's why they are prioritizing this mid lane shove so much, so they can get a bit more pressure around there, push some vision a little bit further. Now the question for DFM is, do they want to engage into Sengoku when they've got a bit more of this positional advantage? Or are they going to go, yo, it's just a single Drake, we'll give it up, we'll get something else on the map and fight for them a little bit later?
Well, it looks like actually DFM, Eddie included, they just want to fight around Baron at 23 minutes. Okay, DFM. If that's the trade we want to make, we have to make sure Sengoku actually opt into this, because if they don't, and they do exactly what they're planning to do here, it's kind of free. Destiny should be popped at some point soon, because it looks like Sengoku are just going to take this for free.
Once potentially caught out here, though, as Giant's Growth is used, Wild Growth, excuse me, Paranoia onto the RE. But Jet can dash himself away. Once again, TFM burning engage tools and not finding anything for it. Yarong knocked away from the fight, though. And now Paz is isolated in the front line. Body slams away to buy some more time. But he will get chased down that Thimble into that shield. Not meaning too much as Honey. Also take a look. The flash! Tongue lash. Harp with the kill.
What a performance. DFM, I'm still not quite sure that really worked out how it should have for you. And quite frankly, that was horrible. But it worked. You did give them the dragon. And the fact that Sengoku got the dragon and then got to come back afterwards, not great. Really not great. But DFM found the angles. They found the objective with this Baron. They get the kills. And well, let's come into this replay and try and break this down, because it all starts with them finding a pick onto once. The moment that they do this, though, their dragon also goes down. Paranoia pops, but they can't find any more kills. And honestly, from Sengoku, this is where it should end. They should just group up. Issue is, Paz is a bit too far ahead. Jet tries to do a lot, but misses everything. And you can definitely see a world where if Sengoku hit a lot of this stuff all in once, it probably goes from bad to worse for DFM. It doesn't. They miss a lot of their stuff. And this tongue lash at the end is just kind of the cherry on the top to just go, Sengoku, you're now out of this game. The gold lead is now like 6k. They've got the Baron. They've got the dragons. DFM are well and truly in the driver's seat when it comes to objectives.
And it's what we wanted to see. DFM got leads in game one, but they didn't snowball them effectively. This is looking pretty damn effective. Whilst we're in that replay, Jet was taken out by Ebby in a solo kill, and the 4v5 is going to be so nice for the #1 seed. Steel flashing forward to secure the kill. TP's coming through, though. Sengoku are responding to this one, but it might not be enough. Harp taken out, traded for once, but it's 3 dead on the side of Sengoku, 3 alive for DFM still. A minute and a half left on this Baron. How much more can they take?
Yeah, Utapon is just going to keep doing this. Guys, you can't stay here. They've got Rapid Fire Cannon also on Yaharon with a Lich Bane. I was saying this is not going to be a damaging... I mean, with a Lich Bane, you're going to keep doing it. And look at this. This is just pain.
Once again, Jet escapes on very low HP from also from that Jhin. But this game is not looking good for Sengoku. We saw the account tweet, yo, late game is ours. But DFM, they don't seem concerned with going to late game. It is all action all the time as we're jumping into this solo kill replay.
Oh, Ebby, how clean is this going to be? All right, 1, 2, I have to imagine, yeah, straight in. Jet doesn't have the ultimate here, remember, so it's pretty cookie cutter for them here. Well done, Ebby. At least finding that. But then it's because they find this, it's what it ends up turning into everything else. Because they don't have Yaharong and this Baron, they just feel like they can keep pushing forever. This paranoia and immediately going on to them. But then ending up just killing Enti beforehand. Whether that was intentional or not, I actually love it because the Wild Growth didn't get to go off.
Couldn't be used.
Couldn't be used, mate.
Enti couldn't buy any time for his team, and we are seeing Sengoku reaping what they sowed in the sown. They are reaping what they have sown in the draft phase, because we highlighted that it's not a lot of safety for Honey. It's a very, very risky position that he's been placed in. And when you're 0-3-2, when this Jinx should be at her strongest point, approaching 3 items, it's not going well for you.
No, but with a 4.8 cap Baron power play, I almost did the accidental call out there, but we're not sponsored by anyone, so we don't have to make that call out. God, they have really, truly done exactly what their marketing team wanted to do. Did that sponsor of another league?
It's worked.
But I don't have to say that, so I'm going to just keep saying it like this, because DFM, I've used the term ceaseless aggression, but 27 minutes with a 10k gold lead, I think that's it. But Ebby, you're pretty far up, buddy, on your own.
Absolutely fine, though. We'll use that Hextech Ultimatum and flash away.
No, Ebby.
He's just too good at League of Legends, man. And this means that Yaharong can keep pushing in the top lane, and Utapon, Harp, and Steel can rotate to this open inhib. Sengoku, they're panicking. They don't know what to do. There's not a right play for them at the moment, and it was such a protracted game one. It's such a protracted series against Rascal Jester. We asked whether they've got the stamina to see this series out, and DFM potentially answering with an emphatic no.
Well, it's only the second game. They got the first one, but I completely agree with you, Middlecott. These... These two teams are definitely jostling for position here. DFM are probably going to close this game out rather effectively and cleanly. We already saw how their rotation worked. Ebby getting that all, like 4 to 5 members to pull to just try and get them. But because of that, Yaharong was able to make the cross-map play. Paranoia used defensively just to save Ebby, because if you can't see Ebby, how can you get him? I just, so much mental game stuff going on. I love this from DFM. What does this mean, though, Middle Cop? For draft adaptation now, because DFM have shown another composition, another play style that they can pull out of their back pocket that we hadn't seen from them before. This is a unique play style. So now, how are Sengoku going to react to this? Because they had some must bans every single time, remember. That karma has never been allowed. Tryndamere, the flex pick between mid and top. There's so much from them. Oh, and by the way, Caitlyn, yeah, Udapon just isn't allowed to play that champion, by the way.
Oh, it's absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, it is.
And we are getting to the point where the number of target bans that you need to throw in draft are probably sort of 6, 7, 8. And fun fact, you don't get that many bans. So something has to go through.
I will fight for it one day, mate.
Hey, when League of Legends has 200 champions on the roster, I think that's when it's happening.
We're not far off that, actually.
We are pretty close, and we've also got 200 years of game design on Utapon with this Aphelios. 3 items completed, Gale Force, Infinity Edge, and the Bloodthirster for a little bit more sustain. There was a lot of damage coming out of the bot lane for DFM, a lot of damage coming out of the top lane. And Sengoku feels like this is their last opportunity to find something down so much, but DFM are split. Ebby is split pushing. They need to go now, but that Moonlight Vigil is going to do a hell of a lot to dissuade the aggression. Paranoia thrown out, but it's still Utapon being played onto, eaten up, cast away, but it's still in the backline. TP is going to come through from Ebby. Already a single kill picked up for DFM, and it is the AD carry. It is the most important member of Sengoku, and that means that the rest of this fight is torn apart for Sengoku. Torn asunder, failed flash. And it's Yaharong finding the kills. It's DFM finding the plays, and it's DFM evening up the series.
What a performance from Detonation FocusMe. A very strong answer back towards game number 1, but they're going to get this Nexus.
Not quite sub 30 minutes, but a hell of a lot quicker than game 1. One apiece now, DFM versus Sengoku.
Are we going to get the full 5? Will we get Silver Scrapes? Well, we won't know for a while, but DFM responded rather effectively, and I am so excited to see what we're going to see after this middle cop, because this is now